Bekiim Bahalacha 3, day 20, Amud, page 38, Halacha Tetwav, 15. So it says over here like this: Halulim, halulim, velo yomar halalim, halalim. Right? Some people, mamash, they make the mistakes like I don't know what. Yeah. So it's halulim, halulim, halul, huh? Yeah. He says remez ledavar, halulim, halulim, ole ramach kecheshvon evre haadam. Okay. So why chalulim chalulim? The numerical value of chalulim chalulim is resh memchet 248. Remember, there's 248 membranes, right, in the human being. So that's why you have chalulim chalulim. So he says, since at the end of the day, on all the avarim, we're not going to give shevat lachen tiknush you kolim kan kol avarim, which means we want that all the organs of a human body should praise HaKadosh Baruch Hu. So when we say chalulim chalulim, which is representing the 248, the ole cheshbon gematria, yeah. So he says, right? So he comes and he says, so therefore he comes and he says that's the explanation, right? That they instituted such a thing, okay? Yeah. He comes and he says, right, as follows. Yeah. He comes and he says now like this, okay? This is the teaching. Look in 307. Okay? You have to teach the math as well. Right? This is the teaching of the Arba Turim. Yeah, you have to actually come. Right? That's why there's no Bet Sefer. They don't learn. Yeah, this is the teaching of the Arba Turim. And it appears in a passage found in some dishes, the Midrash Tanchuma. The Midrash Tanchuma. Man has 248 body parts. And therefore we declare every day the blessing that God created man. Halulim, halulim. Every single day. You understood? Okay. Very good. These, right? That's like this. He's coming and he says, right? These two words equal 248 for those that learn how to do math, referring to all the man's body parts. Hagaon Vilna Kamni taught that since our Chachamim use this word to allude to all our body parts, they hinted to us the fact that every one of our body parts has its own hollow. So to mean it kol chelek baguf. Every body part has something chalul, has something hollow. In fact, even hairs are tubular. Even hairs are chalulim. Right? Researchers have demonstrated that hair follicles transmit light in the same manner as fiber optic tubes. Thus, our sages, right, gave us an official opportunity to thank Hashem for all our body parts. Hakol, bakol mikol kol. The Gemara, right, also uses the term chalalim, which means hollow spaces. Right? So you could technically, halal is also hollow, right? You know what the halal is? Outer space, right? Hollow. Rashi explained, he comes and he says, right? He says, Rashi explained that this refers to hollow organs such as the heart, stomach, and intestines. Rabbi Yosef explained that the Tur did not accept this as a correct text, since it's wrong to say that Hashem created hollow spaces. What he created is tubular organs that are hollow, right? Chalulim. The Bach challenges theory, since it's possible to say that Hashem created empty space, just as he created the absence of matter or energy. Right, as we found, meaning if HaKadosh Baruch Hu could boreh choshech, so he could also create something which is hollow. Okay? Ma? אתה לא פה. כמו שהקדוש ברוך הוא, right? אם אתה לא קורא בפנים, אתה לא יכול להבין כלום. Right? One more time. Right? The concept is, right? The concept is very, very, very פשוט. מה אנחנו מדברים עכשיו? הלכה ט"ז. זה שקבל נקבים, וכפה גם כן חלולים. Why do we need it twice? Why twice? So he says, משום שנקבים הרבה ישנם בגוף אדם, וכן איברים חלולים הרבה יש בגוף אדם, ולאורות על ידועים כופלם. Meaning like this, many times when there's a lot of them, right, when there's a lot of something, we say twice. So for example, מאוד מאוד. What do you mean מאוד מאוד? A lot. Why do we say it twice? Because that's what I have to, מאוד מאוד אבל שפל רוח. What does that mean? You have to be very, very humble. Not just stam humble. Very, very. Whenever there's something which is showing on a lot, we're going to double the language. Okay? He says, Halacha Yod Zayin. Galui biyado lifnei chisei chevodecha. Ma shemazkirin kan kisei hakavod b'birkat asiyat tzrachav. Why are we mentioning the throne of glory? Ribono shel olam, we're talking about going to the washroom, the throne of glory. Right? So he says, hu leotzi medat haomrim, ki yev shesh HaKadosh Baruch Hu yashkiach al olam shefal gazeh. וכך אנו אומרים שאפילו לפני כיסא כבודו, שאפילו המלאכים הגבוהים עומדים מרחוק. Right? He says, משם כמה נרבה בפרסאות, אפילו משם משקיח על דברים שפלים כאלה. That means, even though הקדוש ברוך הוא, we're talking about ממש הכיסא הכבוד, we're not talking about the lower heavens. Mamash, we're talking about very far away. And even there, HaKadosh Baruch Hu, right, is paying attention to what we're doing in this world, right? Not just stam. So 308. Again, this explanation is by Arav Eliyahu Mivilna, right? In the Sefer of Yimner Nom. So to me, it's a pshat shel Gaon Mivilna. He says the Zohar HaKadosh Ba Omer, right? He comes and he says that there's no choice to vote of God, meaning HaKadosh Baruch Hu meloch chol haaretz kevodo. Rav Shner Zalman of Liadi, right? He actually taught that this is taken literally. Hashem fills every inch of the universe, even places like garbage dump and septic tanks. Hashem is there. Rav Eliyahu Vilna disagreed though. He explained that the Zohar means only that Hashem watches and controls whatever is in the world, but it does not mean that He's there. So, Maya machloket ben Hagal Mividna v'Shulchan Aruch HaGraz. Shulchan Aruch HaGraz said that in every space in the world, mamash, every thin air, Hashem is there. Hashem is here. Hashem is there. Hashem is truly everywhere. Right? That's our motto. But says the Gaon Mividna, that's not the pshat. The pshat is that HaKadosh Baruch Hu is in control of everything, but not that he physically is there or that he's putting in such places mentioned above. During their lifetimes, this debate became a cornerstone of contention between Hasidic Jews and their opponents. This became a much like a big machlok between the Hasidim. I remember that the Gaon put them in the cherem, right? So it was very, very powerful. Yeah, their enmity grew to the point that people were burning the books written by the disciples of the Baal Shem Tovs. Right, as much as Shnar Zaman was painted by this, he instructed his followers to refrain from reacting in kind. He said that he wished that he had the opportunity to meet the rabbinical leader, the opponents of Chassidut, to explain them the justice of his teachings, right? But he says he consoled his followers for the burning of the holy books, telling them that the Rambam also faced such a stiff opposition to his teachings about Judaism, that his books were also burned in mass. Years later, though, people reconsidered and came to recognize the true greatness of the Rambam, and one day everyone would know this as well. So, right? Yeah, of course. Rabbi Yonah was one of the people that they were burning his books. Why? Because the Rambam, when he wrote his book, there was no Manei Mekomot. And since there was no Manei Mekomot, sometimes they will look as if it's a Gemara Mefurash that is going on. The reason why, though, is going like a Yerushalmi or he's going like something else. So that's why you have the Bet Yosef and others that they came and they wrote books on the Rambam to actually write down his sources and to show, right? Yeah. No, because he wanted to write only a Sefer Halachot, write something very, very katzar. He didn't want to write everything. Right, regarding this particular debate about Hashem's omnipresence, right? The prime disciple, they brought it. Rabbi Yonah, Sharet Shuvah, Rabbi Yonah Migronodi, the Mechutan of the Ramban, and not only that, there was a lot of them. The Mechutan of the Ramban. Yeah. So he says over here that Rav Chaim Volozhin also agree with the opinion of Rav Shiner Zalman. Nevertheless, he issued a warning to avoid philosophizing about this issue. One should think about the general principle of Hashem's omnipresence, right, and leave it at that. Right, see more in the Torah Shelema. Okay, fine. Halacha. That's it. We finished.